suggestion for a webinar, you could contact either me or Andrea, and we'll give you our emails here in a minute. But if you have anything, please let us know. So, great. But nice to see so many people on here. This is wonderful. So I think I will get started just to keep things rolling along so we can stay on our schedule. We want to leave plenty of time for Q&A. So I want to welcome everybody to our webinar on online printing. My name is Eric Luden. I'm the founder and owner of Digital Silver Imaging in Belmont, Massachusetts. And we are a custom fine art print lab specializing in silver gelatin prints, fine art pigment prints, and we also do custom mounting, framing, and a pretty wide range of services for you. My business partner to my left, over there, all the way from Denver, please welcome Andrea Zaki. And we're looking forward to sort of walking you through our process today. More importantly, I do want to thank everybody for joining us. I know we are really in some unprecedented and tumultuous times in our world, and we hope that each of you is safe, your friends and family are safe during these times, and you're staying healthy, and maybe making some time to edit or make some new photos. So the lab has opened up for production, and we're glad to be back and working. We are only having one person in the lab at a time just to ensure safety for everyone. So, you know, we appreciate your orders. You can send them in, hopefully after you see this new application. And just be patient with our production schedule as we keep our team safe during this time. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about our process. I'm going to share my screen here and kind of walk you through a couple of things. So if you end up on our website, we do offer a variety of printing options. We have our custom printing options, which we're not going to go into today. We're really going to be talking about this new value print service that we are using. But if you want to look at our custom pages, they do offer information on the papers, the printing styles that we offer. But we're really going to, as I said, focus on the value print page. Value print, so the major difference on our value print service is we are using the same papers, same great materials, same professional equipment that we've always used. The advantage here is that we are printing the files as is, meaning you've uploaded them through this new service that we're going to show you. We don't offer any editing on these files or any proofs, but you as the photographer are maintaining all the control and sending the files already cropped and shown exactly where they're going to be. So this really saves us time and ultimately saves you money, and it can save you anywhere from 10 to 25% on the printing costs. So this is really ideal for photographers who are doing all their own editing in Photoshop or in Lightroom. So here,
I just want to add, Eric, just one thing that, if you use our value print service, we are a Hahnemühle certified studio and a Canson certified studio, which means that to become certified, we had to show that we basically performed certain production, what would you call them, standards, that we met production standards of, monitoring our systems. And, we create our own custom profiles for each and every paper. And we monitor those, every day and the output of our machines. So basically, you're getting the same quality on a value print as all our printing.
So you can learn more about some of our papers and options here. When you're ready, then you can click on Start Your Order. And this is going to launch our new site. We worked with a company up in Canada called DACUS, which helped us build this new site. And we're very pleased with the integration of how the system works. Just to give you a little navigation information, if you click the Back to DSI website, that's actually going to take you back to the main digital silver imaging page. But anytime you get lost and want to come back to this landing page, if you click on our logo, that will bring you back here. And then we're going to talk about the 3 different options that we offer here: prints with mounting and framing, our prints only service, and I'm going to start with our print sample promotion. So for any of you who haven't tried us, we offer a print sample promotion for both our inkjet papers and our black and white silver gelatin papers. So I'm just going to click on this here to give you a little breakdown of how this works. We have 3 different papers now available for silver gelatin. We have the resin-coated pearl, the fiber-based gloss, and the fiber-based matte. And our DSI digital silver print process is trademarked. And we feel for your black and white prints, this is absolutely the best way to go in terms of rendering a beautiful neutral black and white print. So I can click on this solution here. And over on the right-hand side, I'm going to be able to make a choice of which papers I want to use. If you have any questions about the papers, you can always click on this little I for information. And this is going to give you a little pop-up that's going to talk about the different papers we offer: the fiber gloss, the fiber matte, and the resin-coated pearl. The other thing I want to be clear on this part is that when you upload your file for our print sample promotion, we're going to print the same file on the different papers. So the purpose of this sample is for you to get a feeling for what your image is going to look like on these different papers. You have to select a minimum of 2 different paper options in order for this to work. And just to be aware, because of our fiber matte paper is a little bit longer in production, if you add the matte fiber, it's going to add maybe a week or 2 onto the production schedule at most, depending on where we are in that cycle. So for the purpose of this one, I'm going to do our fiber gloss and our fiber matte. And in fact, and why not, I'll just show you how this works. After you've clicked on those 3, you can hit begin creation. And that's going to launch this app, as it says, powered by DACUS, our good friends up north of the border. And I'm going to, if you've used the application before, it's going to ask if you want to reuse your images. I'm going to click on Start Fresh. And I'm going to over here click on Add Photos in the upper left-hand corner. I'm going to select the files to upload. And for the black and white print sample promotion, I know I have this black and white print in here that I'm going to use. Click on Upload. And I can either click on Process this automatically because I know what I'm ordering, or I can hit Cancel and simply at that point drag and drop the image into this window. I want you to be aware that although this icon is shows square, my image was a horizontal, I can click on it and show that, and I can drag and drop that into that window. Now, since we're doing 8x10s, I want to be aware that not all files are proportional to 8x10. If you want to make sure that your entire image fits on an 8x10 page, just canvas it out in Photoshop or Lightroom. I can click on the zoom button if I want. It's only going to allow me to zoom in. I cannot zoom out to show the whole photo, but I can slide it up and down in here to get more of what I want in that direction. After I'm done, I hit Apply, and then I click the blue Next button in the upper right-hand corner. This takes me over to the confirmation page. It shows that I've ordered the black and white fiber, gloss, fiber matte, and the pearl. If for this reason I go, you know what, I really don't want to be, I need these quicker, I'm going to take the matte off. You can do that. That'll adjust my price on this side. Then I hit Add to Cart. This is an automatic button that pops up that says, do I want to create another? Since you're only allowed 1 print sample promotion in black and white and 1 in color, you just have to hit Proceed to Cart. And that will take me to the shopping cart page. And I'm going to proceed to checkout. If there is a promotion code running, which we will be sending you at the end of the webinar, you can do that. From here, it's pretty straightforward. If you're out of state and want us to ship it, we'll ship it. If you want it picked up, you can pick it up. So here you're just going to fill in your information. Oh, I'm sorry, I already made one little mistake there. It's first name, last name. I can just click that autofill if I have that feature turned on. to select your state up here from the drop down, and make sure it fills in your phone number. I did the wrong location for that. I'm not going to do this on every order. I just want to get you through the process of how the ordering procedure works so that you can see it. I'm going to use the same as the billing address and hit continue. If you do want it shipped to a different address, if you're having us drop ship it to a friend or something, you can do that. In this section, you get to select the shipping option, and our shipping options are determined by the size of your print. So in this case, I could select first class postage or priority mail if I'm on the West Coast and want a little bit faster. We can do that. So I'm local. I'm going to click that. Takes you to the checkout. I'm going to confirm everything here. Billing address. You do have to check our terms and conditions. And at this point, it's, are you going to pay by credit card? Do you have an account on file with us where you've already given us your credit card, or PayPal? So I have an account on file, one of the advantages of being the owner. So I can now click order now, and my order will be processed. Get a little confirmation. I will also get a confirmation email, and the lab gets a confirmation email as well. So that's essentially how our print sample promotion works. Encourage people who haven't tried us before. This is a great way to test out our service, number one. And number two, it's really a great way to test your how your image is going to look on a variety of papers. The inkjet one is similar. I just want to show you it works a little differently in that in this case, you do get to select all of the different papers that we offer. And again, if you have questions on the paper, all you have to do is click this little icon here, and it will bring up detailed information. I have to thank Hahnemühle. I think they do a great job with giving us all of that kind of detailed images of their papers, so you get a sense of what their papers look like. Canson makes beautiful paper. Love what they do, but their information is a little less detailed. So again, keep in mind you get one print sample promotion, and if you want to build borders around your image, please do that ahead of time. Andrea, have we had any questions about the print sample promotion yet? Anybody ask questions? No? Okay. So I'm going to go into the next one, which is our prints with mounting and framing options, okay? And I'll start with our black and white just as a place to go. Again, navigation is in many places here. You can get to it up top. You can get to it along the side. Very easy to work with. I've built in some interesting sort of tutorials and frequently asked questions to help you get started. So if you have those, you can click on this. We have a few really good things here. So we do, if you have questions on proper methods for exporting out of Lightroom, you can follow this link to our website. It'll do that. This one on how to best practices for converting a black and white file to color file to black and white. Again, we worked with Joe Brady, gave us a great tutorial. You can download that video. A little information about our silver gelatin print process, how we do it, what are the prints, if you need to know. And then we discuss a little bit about mounting options, what are aluminum tubing hangers, hanging plates, and a little bit about what is a frame with spacers. A lot of people, it's a very contemporary way to frame things, and people often ask, how does that work? So we have a couple of short videos in there to show you how those work. So I'm going to go back to this page, and I'm going to show you a little bit about these unique print hangers that we offer. So in here, you'd click on on that page. We have the list of sizes on the left-hand side. So if you do want to jump right to a size you want, you could do that. I do want to be clear that the print sizes that we offer are limited to the size of the print hangers that we sell. So you will notice in some cases that we do not offer, for instance, an 8x10 vertical black and white print with a print hanger, because there is no 8-inch print hanger. I just want to be clear about that. So in this case, what you would do is you can select your image. You want me to do a 12x18. Again, you get to select the paper you want. our resin coated pearl, fiber gloss, or fiber matte. And at this point, you would click Begin Creation. And again, this will launch the DACUS app, similar to what we did before. And I'm going to start fresh. I'm going to load up more images this time because I know I'm going to be doing some more things. So I'm going to select files to upload. One of the things I did is I created a folder on my desktop. This makes it easier to find. And I simply labeled the folder, Files for Printing. Just makes it easier so they're all in one place for you to work with. So I'm going to click on this, the same image again that I used before. I'm going to hit process because I know I'm going to go right to it, and it immediately pops it in there for me. I want to keep in mind that one of the things that we mentioned, forgot to mention on the previous page, when you slide a print hanger over your image, a little bit of the top and the bottom edge of the print slide inside the hanger. So we will automatically add a 1/4 inch white border to the top and the bottom of your image so that none of the image gets cropped. You will not see that white border because it will be inside of the hanging tube, the print hanging tube that we offer. I would hit next, confirming here that you have to make sure you also select the right hanger orientation, whether it's a vertical or horizontal. That's actually something we can fix. I can take the horizontal option out of this, so we will correct that. So it would normally then default to your vertical print hanger because I have a vertical oriented print. I'm going to add it to my cart. And unless I want to do an identical 12 by 18 print, I would hit proceed to cart. And this is going to put this into my shopping cart. And if I want to go do another one, at that point would just click on either continue shopping or any one of these other icons. But I'm going to hit continue shopping and then go back into my black and white prints, because if you want to do a second one, another one with a print hanger, that's how you would get to it. And maybe I want to do a bigger size, or I want to do something in square. But if you want to add a second image, that's how you would go about doing it. You would just go to that. And I'm not going to walk through the checkout process because the checkout process is identical to the process in the we did with the print sample. Inkjet is the same thing. The frequently asked questions that we have here, again, answer some of the same questions we did in the black and white, our Lightroom tutorial, and the various mounting options that we offer. And I'm just going to show you maybe one or two of these. These are for people who want to just mount prints to a variety of substrates, but not have any framing around them. So if I know I want to do like I'm going to select on this size just so I can jump right to it. Say a 10 by 10. I can come right down here. I know this is probably a little small. It says search, but it's going to take me right to that one option. Click on that image. And again, I get to select a paper. And for the image I know I'm going to print, I'm going to use the Canson Baryta Prestige. And in terms of the mounting, I'm going to mount this to a 3/16 black gator. Same thing again, just so you all know, all these little blue icons will tell me a little bit about what the product is that we're offering. And we have different hanging options. And in the smaller prints, we offer these little hanging plates, which are kind of handy. They go on the back of the prints and make it easy to hang them on your wall. So I'm going to select the hanging plates. Again, begin creation. It's going to ask me if I want to reuse some of the pictures I did. Let's see if did I add all those before? Can't remember. Nope. So I'm going to do add photos. And I'm going to select this fun one of me and my friend Herb Green, because it's a square. Hit process. Oh, you know what? I didn't select the right one. That's the one I want to do. So I can just drag and drop and correct that. So I know that I selected a square image. We're going to do it on the gator that I selected and with the hanging plates. And again, this will just bring this in here to confirm. I selected the Canson Baryta Prestige. I want it on the black gator foam. Again, if I change something at this point, I can easily change it here and then add to cart. Okay, so again, it's a similar process to all the other. From here on out, it's going to be the same. You know, checking out what's not. So here you can see I still have the vertical print hanger and this inkjet square image, so that they're both part of my order. If you change your mind at this point, it's pretty simple. You can just remove that and it takes it out of your shopping cart. Okay, so I'm going to remove this for now. And what I'm going to take you to for the last part is our prints only, which is a different application than the ones with printing and framing options and mounting options. This is just for printing photos and no mounting or any framing options. Okay, so you can select them from my device, or if you have stuff in social media or up in the iCloud, you could do that as well. I'm going to do a select files to upload. And I'm just going to select on a few photos here. And I'm going to choose those, bring them into my, hit upload down here. And depending on your file sizes, you know, they'll load pretty quickly. I want to remind everybody that this is a JPEG only supported application. So you can export your high-res TIFFs out as you know, level 8, you know, or 10 level JPEGs, and they will print just fine. But TIFFs will not function, will not work with this application. So, and they'll finish loading here. It's going to tell me where it is in the upload process, so that's handy. Obviously, if you have a lot of images, it's going to take a little bit to do. And we're on our last image. So it's going to populate all the images. I just want to reiterate what I did on this one, which I mentioned before, is I had created one with a custom border, so that I added a border ahead of time, and that's important in the other application with the mounting and framing options. That if you want to add custom borders, you should do it before you upload your file. So I can either hover over an individual image and work on one image at a time, or if I know that I want to do all of them, I'll show you in a minute how you can do all. But I'm going to start with this image here. And what that's going to do is put my image into the frame, and my paper choices then appear here. I can either scroll vertically like this to get to the different papers, or I can just come over here to this side and I can just scroll to the left or right. Keep in mind that our black and white digital silver prints are going to print your image in pure black and white. So if you are going to convert anything ahead of time, you should do that in either Lightroom or Nik software. But I'm doing a color image, so I'm going to come down here and I'm going to select a paper that I like. I'm going to do the Hahnemühle Fine Art Baryta Satin. Again, we've added all these descriptions in here, so if you need to double check characteristics of the paper, you can click there. One thing you're going to notice is that we offer this here, that once you get beyond the recommended resolution for your image that you're trying to do, this little warning is going to pop up and tell you that the file you're trying to upload doesn't have enough resolution for the size you're trying to print. So it's kind of handy warning, so you're not disappointed. So in this case, I'm going to select a 12 by 18. And that's going to pop this into this window. Now, one of the things that's important, again, in thinking about aspect ratios, is that if your file is not fitting the 12 by 18 aspect ratio, it's going to crop in your image, what you can see over here. Now, I can move it left or right if I want, if 12 by 18 is really critical, or I can select the shrink to fit image. And what that's going to do is fill the whole 12 by 18 page with your image, but it's going to leave a border on the top and the bottom, which you can trim off later. We will not trim that off. We will leave that as is. You can add more than one copy at a time, but if you just want one, you can do that, and you can hit done. So what's nice then is it's going to confirm right here, I've ordered a 12 by 18 of that image. I can go back in and say, you know what, I'm going to try a different paper. I like the Hahnemühle Photo Rag, but I'm going to try a smaller one just to see what that looks like. So I'm going to try that as a 6x9. Same issue of the crop. I'm fine with that crop on this. I'm just going to move it a little that way and hit done. Come back here, and now you'll see it'll remind you what you've ordered. Okay, which is really handy. Now, if you know you want to make let's say a bunch of 4x6s of all of these. Sorry, let me go back one. Whoop. Go back here. Sorry. I can do a select all, right, and do add sizes. And what I can do here is pick a paper and a size. Just scrolling down here. I just want to do some small, like 4x6. I'm not sorry, 5x7 pearl prints, right? One of each, and hit done. Now, again, it's going to tell me exactly what I've ordered, right? I've got a 5x7 of each. I can go in and see what the crop is if I need to. At this point, if I'm done, I'm going to hit review and order. It's going to remind me what I've ordered here. I get to select, if you want to add borders here on these images, you can do that here. And what I want to be clear about is if you have selected a 5x7 print and you want to add a 1/4 inch border, unlike our previous application, which was our other service, in this case, we're going to keep the image area the size you selected. So for instance, this is going to, the image area is going to print 5x7. And if I select 1/4 inch border, it's going to add that 1/4 inch border outside of the image. So your final paper size when you get it delivered from us will be 5.5 by 7.5. Okay. Down here is whether you want any rush services. This will get added to your order in the lab. I'm not sure if it adds it here, but I haven't checked that yet, so I apologize for that. If I click on the edit button, I can go back in and change the size there. The other thing I want to be very clear about, I know we have this edit button up here on the top, and it brings up rotate, which you can do. I'm trying to find out if we can get these two disabled, because I don't really want you using this application to do contrast adjustments or brightness adjustments. I really would stick with Lightroom, Photoshop, or what other application you're using. And the second issue is we are not going to be offering these conversion tools down here because they're not as accurate as what you can do in your own application. So please do not use these filter buttons or the contrast buttons. So when you're all done, we add to cart. It's going to bring me to the checkout. It just confirms everything I've done here. I have no rush charge. I've added a 1/4 inch border, and I have all of these sizes and the quantities selected. If there's a coupon code, which we're going to give you, you can put that there and proceed to checkout. And then everything is the same. Even though this application is different than our prints with mounting and framing options, the checkout shopping cart procedure is exactly the same. So that's kind of a quick rundown on our service. In terms of how this works, I just want, just as a little reminder, just remember that this application only uses JPEGs. So be sure to export your files from your application as high resolution JPEGs, and then this new service will work great. So I'm going to stop screen sharing at this point. I can always go back to it if people have specific questions. So does anybody at this point have some questions for us, comments about the software or how it works? We'd certainly like to answer any. Looks like we do have some questions, Andrea.
Yeah, we do. So Eric, so you can go to screen share. Why don't I share some of the questions that we've had? Michael asks a question, and his question is that he actually prints large, 20 by 30, and he's been told that dry mounting of his photos significantly, as he says, devalues the photograph. Can a large print be mounted, and should it? That's his question.
I think, well, the answer to that is, I don't, devalues is maybe a pretty strong term, you know, in the sense that if you've mounted it to something and the person wants to do some type of framing or finishing on it, you may have limited their choice, potentially. On the other hand, you know, most of our prints, depending on what our treatment is, if we're going to frame them up to about 20 by, you know, maybe 20 by 24, we use archival acid-free mounting corners if they're going into a frame. If you are selecting one of the other services like mounting with, you know, into a frame with spacers, or just prints and mounting in general to a different substrate, it's obviously going to get mounted. And maybe in that case, you want to make sure you select something with some more archival characteristics. Dye bond is excellent. We do mount to acid-free foam core. I always think of foam core as more short-term display than long-term display. You know, large prints do need to be mounted. Otherwise, I think the recipient kind of wonders why they're so wavy in the if they're being matted. So that can definitely be a concern. I hope that answers your question. So
the other question we have a couple here. So this is an easy one, and I can answer it. Charles asks, do you ship to Canada? And the answer to that question is yes, all the time. So next question comes from Nadine, and she asks about picking matte colors and frame choices.
Okay, that's a good question. So for this in our prints with framing, our general in this service, in the value print service, when we do this, our framing options it's always going to be a white matte, not bright white, but it's going to be a 4-ply archival matte with in the frame. And we're going to tell you in this case in the value print service what the size of the print is and the size of the frame. If you want custom mats, then you would want to use our custom upload service to, you know, specify different mat options, or if you need to change the gap around the, you know, what we offer here. So for instance, a 6x6 square print in a 9x9 frame is going to have an 1.5 inch border all around. So if that works for your application, that's fine. If you want to do something more custom, you can reach out to the lab directly. And again, we're sort of showing you the different options of frames, what the profiles look like. If you have questions, all these little icons are going to give you a little information about what they look like.
Okay. So I have there's a couple more questions here, some easy ones.
Yeah.
So Sharon asks, do you ever print black and white images on a Canson or a Hahnemühle paper? And the answer to that is, yeah, that's fine. If you would rather have your print made on an archival inkjet paper or an inkjet paper, as opposed to our DSI digital silver print real photo paper, then that's fine too. We have customers that do that all the time because for consistency reasons, or they like to look just better. So yeah, Sharon, that's fine.
So keep in mind, I want to add to that just quickly, Andre, if I could, is that if you have toned your black and white image and are using this service, like you've added some color or maybe a spot color in some way, you cannot use the silver gelatin print process. You would definitely want to use, you know, select one of the fine art pigment papers.
Right. Because the black and white paper is a true black and white paper. And if you go to the FAQs in the value print page, there's a video attached that you can see our black and white process, that if you're unfamiliar with it, it might explain that a little bit better on exactly what it is and how it differs from, you know, a standard pigments, you know, inkjet, G-clay, whatever you want to call it, print. Let's see. Catherine asks, for 20 by 30s, don't I have to submit images as TIFFs, question mark?
No. At that size, again, if you have worked on your file in Photoshop or Lightroom, and when you go to export it out, if you export out that JPEG at least in Photoshop, I know at level 8 or 10, or even, or level 10 is probably fine. Since we're not doing any additional editing, that is fine. You are not going to notice any issue with any degradation to your file, or your print, I should say.
Okay, good.
I mean, we've printed, I'll be honest with you, was it Carol who asked that question? Andrea?
Who did ask that question? I've kind of moved on. Catherine Wilcox.
Sorry. So Catherine, if you, we've printed files, 40 by 60 from JPEGs that have held up just fine. So go ahead, Andrea, thanks.
Yeah, I'm just responding to another person offline. Okay, so we're getting a lot of questions about ICC, not a lot, I've had a couple of questions about ICC profiles. So Mark asks, in the past, DSI has not published ICC profiles for soft proofing in Lightroom. Will this new application lead to a change on this?
Answer is no to that. Again, this is really a direct to print application, and it's part of our value print service. So we do not offer ICC profiles. One of the reasons that sort of our print sample promotions are great is I've always felt that the ICC kind of soft proof is as accurate as some people think it is. We have found it to be slightly inaccurate just because of all the variables involved, monitor calibrations, types of monitors, and so forth. So, if you do the print sample promotion with us, we do not edit the file whatsoever. So you're getting a straight print from us, unedited, no adjustments, so that you can actually then compare that directly to your monitor output. And if you haven't tried one before, you should do that, because it's inexpensive. You get 3 prints, and we give you almost half of it back in a coupon towards your next order.
So okay, let's see. Jerry asked, can you provide small paper samples? Printed paper samples, specifically asked about the RC and the fiber black and white papers.
We have some small ones that we could mail out if you would like. Just email the lab directly, or you can use on our main website, contact us, and we have little roughly 4" by 5" printed samples on the different papers that we could mail out. Be happy to do that for you, Jerry.
Okay.
And then, if you selected one, I still would encourage you to do our print sample promotion, because then that's your file printed 8 by 10 on the real papers, so you can get a good feel for what your images are going to look like.
Okay, so we have another question from Shannon, and Shannon asks, I have black and white film images that I want to print on Canson paper. I worry about color casts on this paper from the print service end. It says it's happened before from another service. And how do I assure myself of true black and white prints?
Well, if true black and white prints, you would not want to print on the Canson paper. You'd go to one of our DSI digital silver prints, because that is a light exposure with our light jet that actually exposes a true Ilford black and white paper that's then wet chemically processed in black and white chemicals. So that will give you the truest, and it really is a real silver gelatin print. I would say that, because of our calibration that we do at the lab and the profiles that we've built, if you're, if you've really picked a surface and a texture you like in Canson or Hahnemuhle, and it's one of the papers we use, our prints come out, very close to neutral. And I think Christopher, who is our main printer, does an excellent job of ensuring that.
And Eric, I mentioned in the chat that if people want to use a color space, let's say they're working in Photoshop, I recommended Adobe 1998 for a color space.
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, so I think, Shannon, to answer your question, maybe put a finer point on it. Make sure that you're calibrating your monitor. We say that pretty much for everybody. And and I know that there's a big fear about monitor calibration, that it's difficult, that it's expensive, and it's actually none of those. You know, you can buy a calibrator for a little over $100, and it's simple software to use. And if you do it, you know, on a semi-regular basis, you'll be set. You know, especially if you're using a laptop as your monitor. Laptop monitors are notoriously fickle for changing, or you adjust brightness very easily. So that can change everything. So monitor calibration, I think, is kind of the key to everything, including just getting good prints all around. Let's see, do we have any other questions? Jerry asks, what DPI for the silver gelatin prints and prints in general, Eric?
We generally, on the silver gelatin, the LightJet 430, we prefer at 300 DPI. And that really is the general rule that's, you know, you should always kind of send that. I mean, we know people, and typically we might go down to 240 on our Canon professional printers for output. You know, that's tends to be acceptable for pigment prints. The LightJet likes them at 300. We want to keep the LightJet happy.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, again, kind of coming back to Shannon, she typed back in the Q&A that when she had the prints done before, she had to go back into her file and add green. So to get them to go black in inkjet. And I think that there was something not quite right, you know, when you're dealing with that other lab, especially if you did have a calibrated monitor. So that shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
So your frustration is merited, but shouldn't happen on an inkjet print, period. So let's see. Yeah, I get it, Shannon, that they added green to your black and white files, and I don't know why they would do that. That's just, it's not right. So, okay. Let's see if we have, I don't know if we have any more questions. I'm scanning through here. So I just want to say, I'm going to check the chat feature. Great. We had a question about borders in the chat, and I want to make sure that everybody's clear about the custom border aspect. So in our online ordering value print, there are some preset borders that you can select, and I think Eric went through that explanation.
Let me just go back to this so you understand it. So in the prints with mounting and framing, if you want borders in this application, you should be using Photoshop or Lightroom and adding borders to your file before you upload them. Okay, you know, if you want a special border around it. In the prints only application, we offer the ability to we offer the ability when you go to the checkout to add borders. So you can do that in this application. You can select either a 1/4 inch or a 1/2 inch border in this application. So here, that comes up right here.
Right.
So so those again are going to be prescribed borders. And I believe, I may have to check with our folks up north at DACUS. This may apply it to all the images in this selection. So if you're only trying to apply it to a few of them, you just may have to do it as 2 orders. And I'm not sure if hold on one second, I have to go back and look if, I don't know if we got an answer from Patrice, but or anybody at DACUS. But at the moment, I believe that's.
Yeah, Patrice says it does. Patrice said it does.
Okay.
Let's see, they had another question that I wanted to address. Oh, so again, with the borders, if you want to create a custom border on your print, what you need to do is go into Photoshop or whatever imaging editing application you're using, create a file the size you want the finished print to be. So if it's an 11 by 14 and you want an 8 by 10 image on it, you'd create an 11 by 14 file or canvas, and then drop that 8 by 10 image into that canvas. So in essence, you're making an 11 by 14 print.
Yep.
That's for a custom border. So you kind of have to do that work yourself. You can't do that through this application. Or if you don't want to go through that trouble, you can always use our custom print service and we'll do it for you.
Yep. So I'm just going to do a, for anybody who wants to see it. So if I'm in here and I'm in my Photoshop screen here, and I know I'm going to be printing this at 300 DPI. So I've got roughly a 13. Well, let's say I know I want to print this 12 by 18, or I know I want it to be 18 inches. Sorry, 18 inches wide. This is where this is where you would do it. So it's 13 and a half. You hit OK, and then the shortcut for changing your canvas is Option Command C on a Mac. And right now, if I hit 19 by 14 and a half, for instance, right, and do white, that's going to build in my border around it. So I just added a 1/2-inch border to this entire image. And that's the way to do it in Photoshop. It's the easiest way to do it.
So I don't really see any other questions, Eric, right now. So I just wanted to let everybody know, if you do have questions about the service, you can always send us an email through info, or if you want, just pick up the phone and call. We're really happy to talk to you. Our customer care representative, Kayla, will probably answer, and she's just a joy. So yeah, I don't have a whole lot more to say unless we have any other comments, Eric.
Nope, just want to thank everybody again for joining us. We look forward to seeing some orders. We will be sending you out an email tomorrow with with a special code for getting free shipping on any orders. And you actually probably also got that in the original email with the invite to this webinar. And we would certainly enjoy your seeing your work. We appreciate the work here at the lab. We have 4 full-time people who are very eager to be active and seeing new images. So again, we want to thank you all. We hope you're all safe, healthy, and making lots of pictures and hopefully making a lot of prints. So thank you again, everybody, for joining us today for our seminar, our webinar, and take good care. And we hope to hear from you soon. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.